Welcome to Checks and Balances. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And today we've got another episode of our Money Month podcast. Today's one is all about understanding debt, your investment versus consumer debt.
Day for day, all the way through August. How good. We're up to day 5. Like Mike said, all about debt. And the thing around money is debt can be your best mate or your worst enemy.
Yeah.
You choose.
It's not all bad. There is good debt and there is bad debt. Let me give you an example of some bad debt. James, do you remember your first purchase on your credit card?
I was actually just talking to Rav about Ravi's first purchase. He gave me. So I'll tell Ravi's story and then you can tell your story.
Okay.
The thing about banks, Mike, is I won't tell you what I think about banks because,
I work with them.
They're predatory. They're predatory by nature. That you're 18 years old. You're straight out of school. You've got maybe 3 brain cells between us, and they go, "Hey, would you like a loan? Would you like an overdraft?" I remember I got a $2,000 overdraft, and it took me at least 2 years after leaving uni to pay it back off. And I remember just seeing it all the time. It was like minus 19,000.
Yeah.
900. We're talking to Ravi just before about his first experience with debt. And this probably builds into the psychology about how people feel about debt long term. But Ravi was telling me about when he was 18, he got a personal loan to get a motorbike. Now, he did confirm he looked very cool, which, we weren't there, so we'll just have to take his word.
Yeah.
But it took him, he defaulted on the loan, and it took him 6 years to repay the loan, right?
Yeah.
And one broken leg.
And but that's not an uncommon story. So my very first purchase on a credit card, I was just started university. I was earning the right royal figure of nothing. And the bank said to me, "Here's $2,000.
You're a sure bet."
Yeah. Mate, you're going places, son.
Yeah. Nice frosted tips, bro.
Yeah. So I took that and I said to the lads, "Lads, we're on here." We went straight to Hell's Pizza and bought $120 worth of Hell's Pizza ribs. And that was my first purchase on a credit card. James, how long do you think it took me to clear that debt?
Still paying it off.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even pay. It just sat at $2,000 overdrawn, and I'd pay $60 in fortnight interest or whatever the entire time I was at university. I had got my first job at the bank when I paid that off.
Yeah, no, that is a very common story.
And that's what they rely on.
No, what was the ROI on the ribs? Were they good?
The lads are chuffed. It was a good night.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Easy to please.
Yeah, just a quiet night with the boys, eating ribs, drinking a couple of Lion Reds, and watching Dawson's Creek. It was amazing.
Yeah. So the problem with debt, if we talk about the bad of it first, is you can create very unhealthy relationships with money at a very young age, and it'd be very hard to get out of them. And maybe you saw your parents do it. I've certainly talked to parents where they've maybe filed for bankruptcy and their kids in their 20s have $20,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah.
So if we think about the types of bad debts, what we're talking about, bad debts where they're not helping you get ahead. They're just all about immediate gratification. So a credit card where you just spending money on whatever, a personal loan, a car loan, a gem visa, anything like that where you're most likely paying a very high interest rate and you're getting the immediate gratification. But then, Mike, the problem with a lot of these loans is you might be paying 20%. And say if it's a $10,000 credit card, you're paying $2,000 a year just to service the debt.
Yeah, it is very difficult once you are in serious short-term debt to get out of serious short-term debt without some major changes to your spending habits and the structure of the debt. If you've got 7 credit cards and a personal loan and this and that and the other, you almost have to consolidate them into one loan to get them under control because they are very difficult to manage and it is very disheartening. And it leads to some pretty poor money behaviors, even as you're trying to get out of the debt.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to talk about how to pay off consumer debt. So if you do have consumer debt, watch that episode. We're going to go step by step of how to get out of it. We do these podcasts for the month in order for a reason. So look, controversial opinion, there is no reason you need any of these debts. You might go, my credit card, get my hot points. Look, newsflash to you. Do you think the bank is giving everybody points as like some sort of charity scheme? I want everybody to go and fly to Greece. I want people to go buy their new fridge. I want some freaking Briscoe vouchers. That's where all our...
I'm flying to Greece in 4 weeks.
They are making...
With my world credit card.
They are making money on the interest, which is far more than whatever freaking points or air points they're paying off the back of it, okay? So credit card conversation put to the side.
And actually, just to jump in there, a lot of the response we get around this is, I can manage the debt, it's fine, I get my points, I get this, I get the other. If you take a quick sample of 3 people in the room, 2/3 of us have had consumer debt that has been detrimental to our financial future and has been wasted on almost nothing.
Yep.
And it took us years to pay that off. So actually, don't get me wrong, some of you might be really good at managing your debt, but the majority of people aren't.
Yeah. Not everything applies to everybody's situation. But if you set meaningful goals for your future, you have built a budget, so you're not just frivolously spending money, you know where your money is going, and you have built an emergency fund for situations where things go wrong. There is no need for these short-term debts. You want a sweet car? Save for the car. Something goes wrong? Build the emergency fund so you do not have to rely on these debts. Because I can guarantee you, everybody who got a credit card or a car loan or a personal loan ended up with $20,000 of debt. They did not go into that going, this is going to ruin my life. They were all like, I'm going to use this thing, I'm going to pay it off, it's all going to be sweet.
100%. So we've talked about bad debt quite a bit. Look, there is things that are good debt. Things like a mortgage on a house, to a degree, investment property debt for businesses, a student loan I would consider to be good debt to a point as well. So we're not saying all debt is bad. You've got to save all your shekels. That's the only way you can get ahead, but there are instances where you can leverage debt to better your situation.
Yeah, let's talk about good debt, because on all of the bad debt bashing, just as much on the other side, and you must see this all the time, we talk to people and you go, you've got a lot of equity in your home, you've got the cash flow to service an investment property, and the person turns around and goes, I don't know, Mike, like debt makes me feel uncomfortable. Opening my online banking and seeing this huge mortgage makes me feel uncomfortable. And the thing with good debt, whether you use it or not use it, there's risk either way, right?
Yeah.
There's risk using the debt, but there's opportunity costs of not using the debt. And I know a lot of people who are good savers, but didn't have any level of risk within their risk profile and have stayed away from good debt to their detriment.
Yeah, 100%. And we do hear that quite a bit as well. And, everyone has a different risk profile and their attitudes towards money are shaped by a lot of different aspects. But fundamentally, there is good debt and you can use it to get ahead. And the power of leverage, multiplying the size of your investment is an absolutely phenomenal thing over the time. And when we show people, here's the cost, here's the risk, here's the result, it's hard to argue with.
Yeah, and people have made millions and millions of dollars using good debt, using debt to start a business that created, revenue, created jobs, then created profits, and then you put those profits and diversified your situation. Buying a property and it doubling in value over 10 years.
Yeah.
It all comes back to debt can be your worst enemy or your best friend, and you need to know how to harness it to get ahead. So the main thing is not to be scared of debt, but to know which debt to stay away from and which debt to use.
Okay, James, I'm going to quick fire some debts at you, and I want you to tell me good or bad. James, student loan, good or bad?
Good.
James, student loan for my 5th degree. I've never worked a day in my life, and I am the New Zealand's leading expert in the philosophy of Totara trees.
Sorry, philosophy nerds. Bad debt.
Exactly. James, mortgage to purchase my first house, good or bad debt?
Good debt.
that same mortgage, but it's 15 years down the track, and I still have $1 million of the original $1.5 million of debt, and I have no investment properties.
Wasted opportunity, bad debt.
Bad debt. $1.5 million of debt, but I only have $200,000 on my home loan, and I have 3 investment properties. Good or bad debt?
Good debt.
Exactly. So again, it is not just all debt is bad debt. It is not just some debts are good debt. It is about your situation, what you're doing with the money, what is the return on investment, and what is the risk.
Yeah. So tomorrow we're going to talk about, once again, if you have credit cards, personal loans, and you want to make a change because you're listening and you're like, it's money month. I want to harness my situation and change and level up as a person. Well, that's all tomorrow.
Yep.
In terms of today,
what's your action?
The action is in terms of the understanding.
Yep.
So if you have whatever debts that you've got lined up, if you have bad debts, we're getting them gone.
Yep.
Mike, we ain't mucking around playing with this stuff anymore.
Nope.
If we've got credit cards, if we've got credit cards with balances, if we've got personal loans, we are canceling them. We're looking to consolidate them. And then we are rethinking on the good debt side.
Yep.
Oh, Mike, I cannot wait till we get to investment property and people tell me it is too risky to buy investment property with 7% interest rates.
Warriors fans or something. So your action for today is a debt inventory. You list out all of your debts, and I want to know, are they good debt, are they bad debt, or are they ugly debt? And we are going to come at them and clean them all up for you.
And tomorrow, if you do have bad debts, it's going to change your life.
Sounds good. All right, tomorrow's episode will be on bad debts, maybe a little bit about Afterpay as well. Make sure you join us then. Cheers.